This is Shoreline Secrets, a quiet gay love story set on the cliffs of Cornwall. Told in sound, in breath, in what goes unsaid. Jamie was sent to the coast to clear his head, but the sea had other plans. In the last chapter, Jamie learned to fall on the waves, in the silence, and maybe into something beginning. Now something returns from the past. A letter never sent, a mark that might mean something, and a kiss that wasn't supposed to happen, but did. This is Shoreline Secrets, Chapter 4, The Shape Beneath the Water. They surfed again that morning. The sea was calmer. Jamie had fallen twice, once forward, once sideways. But Sam didn't laugh either time. Better than yesterday. But you gotta time it right. Feel the wave. Now Jamie walked the path alone. His arms ached from paddling, but it wasn't a bad ache. It felt earned. The salt clung to his ankles. Sand crept inside the cuff of his jeans, where he hadn't rolled them properly. His towel hung across his shoulders, damp at the edges, brushing the back of his neck. The wind was soft today, more like breath than bite. And the waves, behind him now, whispered instead of roared. The cottage came into view, smoke rising thin from the chimney. No sign of his uncle. Jamie kicked off his shoes by the door, dropped the towel onto the hook, and made his way to the bathroom. The water ran warm, steady. Jamie stepped in without thinking, letting the heat work into his shoulders, rinsing off the salt, the sand, the ache. He stood like that for a while, arms braced against the tile, water gently down his back. Then he turned off the tap, stepped out slowly, towel across his shoulders again, but this time dry, softer. The salt was gone, washed from his skin. But something stayed, something you couldn't scrub off. He dressed slowly, the same old hoodie from the day he arrived. The sleeves were slightly stretched now. Then he sat at the edge of the bed, not ready to lie down, not ready to do anything else either. His phone lay nearby, face down on the table. He reached for it, tapped the screen. 11:14. Sam had said noon. Jamie set the phone down again, screen up this time. The minutes would have moved any faster, but he kept glancing at them anyway. Jamie arrived at Sam's just before noon. He raised his hand to knock, but the door opened first. Sam stood there, barefoot, his hair still damp from a quick rinse, eyes catching light like they always seemed to. "Right on time," he said, like it wasn't surprising. Jamie gave a small nod and stepped in. The inside of the house smelled faintly of toast and something like lemon polish. From deeper in the house, a woman's voice called out, "Sandwiches are on the counter. You boys eat something before you run off again." Jamie glanced toward the voice. "Thank you," he called gently, polite but genuine. Sam's room was smaller, low ceiling, slanted roof, and a small bed messed up. There was a stack of books on the desk, and a cracked mug with pens inside. The kind of space that looked like it belonged to someone who didn't mind being alone. They ate in mostly silence, Jamie chewed slowly, watching the way dust floated through the air. He didn't know what to say, so he didn't force anything. Halfway through his sandwich, Sam leaned back on one arm and looked at him amused. "You've got sauce on your lip?" Jamie blinked, wiped the left side of his mouth with the back of his hand. Sam raised an eyebrow. "Other side." Jamie stilled, awkward. Sam leaned forward slowly. No teasing now. With the pad of his thumb, he gently brushed the right side of Jamie's mouth. His hand lingered for half a second. Their faces were close now. Jamie didn't breathe for a beat. Sam leaned back a little, holding up his hand. "Come on. I've got nowhere to wipe it." Jamie blinked. Sam held his fingers a little closer. "Lick it." Jamie laughed, caught off guard. He hesitated, then leaned forward, tongue barely brushing the side of Sam's finger. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make Sam freeze, just for a second. "Thanks," Sam said. Then he pulled back, looked down at his plate, said nothing more. Jamie reached for his glass of water and drank too quickly. After they cleared the plates, Sam moved toward his desk and pulled something from the thin manila folder. "This," he said, handing it over, "was inside one of my great-grandpa's books. My mom found it ages ago. Thought it was just some poem, but I kept it." Jamie took it carefully. No greeting, no sign-off, just a single page of words. "My dearest, I have tried, more than once, to leave these words unwritten. But they return, like the tide. I loved you in the mornings, when you would drop your board in the sand. I loved you in the silence too, when we sat side by side, knees barely touching. You made the shore feel like something I could belong to. You made me feel known, without ever asking for it. I should have told you then, but the word was not kind to men like us. I was afraid, not of what I felt, but of what it might cost you to feel it too. Still, I carry those days like a warmth under my ribs. If you ever find yourself by the sea again, know that I loved you. Without shame. It was all that I had to give. Yours always." Jamie read the whole thing twice before he spoke. "He never signed it?" "Nope," Sam said, quietly. "No name. Just that." Jamie flipped the page slowly. On the back, near the lower right corner, something caught the light. 2 small wave-like lines, drawn by hand, not decorative, not part of the paper's design. Just 2 little curves, side by side, one overlapping slightly. He tilted the page toward Sam. "Was this already here?" Sam leaned in, then blinked. "Don't think I ever noticed that." They both stared at it for a moment. Something about it felt quiet and deliberate, like it wasn't meant for someone specific. Jamie smoothed the paper gently with his fingers, then asked, not teasing, "Have you ever written a letter? Like a real one?" Sam gave a small laugh. "Not unless birthday card counts." Jamie smiled too, barely. Then after a pause, "I wonder what it was like back then." Sam didn't answer, not right away. He just looked at the wave mark, traced it once with his finger. Maybe that's why he wrote it down, he said softly. So at least one part of it could exist. Jamie nodded. They didn't say anything else after that, but the silence between them had shifted. Not full of questions, not full of answers. Just enough space to feel something unspoken settling in. The letter lay open between them. Jamie's hand rested on the edge of the paper, fingers curling slightly around a corner. He looked at Sam, who was still sitting with his back against the wall. "What would you write?" he asked, voice quiet. Sam looked over, brow raised. "Right what?" Jamie gave a half shrug. "I don't know. A letter, maybe?" "A letter to who?" Jamie hesitated, then said, "Someone you liked, or had a crush on." Sam pauses for a second and starts. "All right, letter time." He cleared his throat, like he was about to mock perform something theatrical. But when he spoke, his voice came quieter than before. "Dear Jamie, I loved you. I knew it because you ate the crust, even when they were burnt. Because you didn't talk much, but always sat close. Because you never looked at the ocean like it was big, just like it was honest. I loved you because something about you made everything quieter, and it felt okay to stop running, just for a second. Yours truly, love, Sam." Sam reached forward, slowly, not dramatic, just sure. But when Jamie leaned in, Sam met him halfway. Their lips touched, softly once, then again. Slower this time, deeper. Jamie's hand came up, hesitated, then gently touched Sam's jaw, thumb resting just below his ear. Sam leaned in, his hand brushing Jamie's thigh, fingers curling into the fabric of his jeans. They pulled back only slightly, foreheads near, noses brushing, eyes half-lidded but open. Jamie exhaled. Me neither," Sam said, before Jamie could finish. They didn't laugh. They just stayed there, breathing together like it meant something, like it always had. And then Jamie leaned in again. Sam met him fully, lips parting just enough. A kiss that held longer, deeper, like they both finally understood what it was. No one rushed. There was no noise in the room except a faint brush of breath and the creak of the floor under them. When they finally broke apart, it wasn't with a start. It was with stillness, a closeness that stayed. The letter still sat open on the floor. The light through the window had turned gold. And for the first time in a long time, Jamie didn't feel like he was visiting someone else's life. He felt like he was in his own. The past home was the same, but something in Jamie had shifted. He could still feel it, the kiss. Not on his lips, but in his chest. He didn't try to name it, just walked, slow and steady, letting the day fold in around him. The air was cooling as he reached the house. His fingers brushed the edge of the doorframe on the way in. But the quiet felt different now. Not empty, just waiting. In the kitchen, his great-uncle was standing by the stove, pouring hot water into a chipped mug. The kettle let out a faint hiss as it settled. Jamie stepped inside. Neither of them said much at first. "Did you ever know someone named Arthur?" he asked quietly. His uncle didn't respond right away. The spoon slowed in the mug, then stopped. He set it down carefully on the saucer. The sound felt louder than it should have. "We used to surf together," he said. Jamie hesitated. "Was he your friend?" The old man didn't look at him, just stood there for a moment, hands braced against the counter. "Don't remember much," he said. Another pause. Something unspoken sat between them. Then he picked up his tea and left the room. Jamie stayed where he was for a moment after his uncle left. He looked at the untouched second mug on the counter, the faint ring of tea on the saucer. Then he reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and leaned against the table. The screen lit his face as he opened his message. He hesitated, then typed, "Guess what happened today?" A few seconds later, 3 dots appeared. Rosa replied, "What?" Jamie smiled and typed, "A kiss." The dots reappeared. Then another message popped up. "I'm calling you." A second later his phone buzzed. He swiped to answer. "Took you long enough," Rosa said. "Tell me everything." Jamie laughed, the kind that came from somewhere deeper than just amusement. "I will, I promise." He stepped out of the kitchen and headed toward his room. Was it awkward? Or like movie-worthy? Jamie was about to answer when something caught his eye. The attic door. It was slightly open, just enough to see the faint slant of light inside, and a shadow, movement. His great-uncle was up there again. Jamie stopped walking. "Rosa," he said quietly, "I'll call you back." "Wait, what?" "Just, I'll call you back." He hung up before she could ask anything else. The hallway was silent again. Jamie moved toward the attic door, slow, careful. He reached the top and stood just outside, not entering, just watching. The attic was warmer than he expected. Jamie stepped in slowly, the wood groaning beneath each step. His great-uncle didn't acknowledge him, just knelt in the corner, unzipping a long canvas bag laid across the faded blanket. It was a surfboard, long, weathered, sun-bleached in places. The zipper gave way with a dry rasp. Jamie stopped a few feet away. "Can I see it?" The older man didn't speak, only shifted slightly to the side, allowing him closer. Jamie crouched. The board was beautiful in its age, scratched and softened by time, but lovingly preserved. Jamie looked down at the board, then back at the man beside him. "Were you good at it?" he asked softly. No answer, but a smile flickered across his uncle's face. Just for a second. It told him everything. "Can I use this?" The smile faded, but not in a sad way. His uncle gave a slow nod. Nothing more, just enough. Jamie ran his hand over the board, tracing the outline near the base. Then he saw it. 2 wave marks, intertwined. Not decorative, not accidental. Exactly the same as the one in the letter. Jamie stared. His throat felt suddenly dry. He looked up. The attic light caught the edge of his uncle's face. Unreadable. "You two were more than friends," Jamie said. Not a question. A silence followed. Long, heavy. Now the great uncle turned away, not in shame, but like someone who'd opened a door that should have stayed closed. The attic felt quiet again, but something lingered in the air, like dust disturbed by truth, like the past exhaling. It was a boy with sun in his hair, wind-burned cheeks, and salt water on his skin. Barefoot, board in hand. Another boy waited for him at the edge of the rocks. A double wave mark scrolled between them in the sand, already half washed away. The memory didn't stay long, just a flicker. A love that was never named, but never really gone. A quiet house, a long-held silence, and the mark that means more than anyone ever said out loud. If you've been following Jamie and Sam's story, thank you for being here. What do you think the mark means to Jamie now? Next time on Shoreline Secrets, we go back to 1960. 2 boys, 1 summer, and the love no one dared speak of until now. Subscribe for more episodes of Shoreline Secrets, our original audio drama about family, first love, and the mysteries that live by the sea. New chapters coming soon, only on Gay Audiobooks.